I hope you're having an amazing day. My name is Colin, and in this video, another update setting up the email marketing and the preparation for the newsletter. But first, the results. So thus far, YouTube is progressing nicely. Nothing too significant, but I'm happy with the results thus far. So we are clocking in at 61 subscribers today. So that's only a 2 subscriber gain from yesterday, which is expected to drop off, like I said, right? The watch time, however, is still pretty good. Yesterday it was 4.2 hours, so we want 10 subscribers per day, but over the entire timeline, and 5 hours per day. So we were a little bit on the low end, although it was a pretty long video, right? 27 minutes, 38 minutes, so this is helping more. But the content needs to be relevant, right? So you see also from my other inflow, a couple of haters disliked the video. That is unfortunate, but doesn't really bother me. So on the comments, there was one comment which is really important. For some reason, it's not showing properly, but oh, here it is, right? So Leon put another comment about Bravo, I don't know how it's announced, for the email list, has automations, and is really affordable. So I did check that out, as you can see here. So thank you, Leon. I really do appreciate that. And I started working with it. More of that in a second. First, we're going to have a look at YouTube. So the total channel got 169 views, but the thing which you have to understand is the key metric for YouTube is here, watch time. So the watch time 12.9 now total. If you have good watch time, YouTube is able to show more ads, which means they make more money, which means your content is relevant, and they will send it in recommendations. And this is what you'll see here. So 57.4% on the impression side is from YouTube recommending my content, which means that we got 111 views from these impressions, which resulted in about 8 hours of watch time from recommendations. Now, if you take that into consideration, 8 hours compared to 12.9 hours, that YouTube is responsible for showing my video to relevant audiences and therefore obtaining watch time. Very important. So therefore my focus is, if I make relevant content, they will keep showing it. And if I keep showing it, then they keep showing it, then the audience grows, right? So it shows, which videos are popular, new visitors, casual visitors, which ones are subscribed and not subscribed. Computer and phone is equally matched. It's all male, and it's all between the age range of 25 and 34, which kind of makes sense, right? So one person, I think, watching with Spanish subtitles, some with English subtitles, and most of them with no subtitles. Then I think with trends is a little bit too early, right? So this is the basic foundation on YouTube, and we're on track. So we should be at around 30 subscribers. We're already at 61, so that's good. The watch time should be around 15, so we're on the low end at the moment at 12.9, but again, we have until the 29th of April to even out that mark. The B2B channel I still haven't started, and this is where the cracks start to appear. So obviously I'm in Dubai. The situation here is not ideal. There was a lot of, conflict problems earlier today, which prevented me from actually sitting down properly and doing the B2B channel. So no excuses. I have received new lights that I ordered on Amazon to basically get a more professional appearance. But I was like, let me get this video out of the way, and then tomorrow I'll pick up the B2B channel. X is basically almost cleaned up, so that's right on time to get started tomorrow. LinkedIn, I have been progressing. So let's have a look at LinkedIn. What's going on there? So the strange part is I did get capped on my connections last night. It said you have reached the maximum limit on connections last night, but then it opened up again this morning. So I think this is like a bug or something. So 2,673, which means that again we gained a lot more than the 10. So LinkedIn is progressing the nicest. Yesterday I made a value post There was some engagement on it, 3 likes, 2 comments. Today I basically asked a pre-frame for the newsletter if people can recommend me some newsletters, because I'm trying to, make one myself as well. And we got 4 likes thus far in the last hour, but no actual comments of people recommending newsletters that they're reading. It's not an issue. I expect within the next 24 hours at least a comment or 2, hopefully. I feel like with LinkedIn it's kind of hit or miss. Like some posts get a lot of impressions, right? So I got already 1,000 impressions just of these 2 posts, 21 search appearances, 300 profile views, but I mean that's going really well. But at the same time, I need to add the newsletter to my profile, right? That's the next step. So on LinkedIn, the process is easy with the to-do. I didn't update the to-do today, but I did make the post, right? So this is from yesterday. I only did 8 out of 20 comments so far, so I still have 12 to do. It's difficult. This is like the most painful task. I already did like 40 connection requests, I think, so that part was really easy. This one is definitely a difficulty. So this is still being cleaned up. I'm doing the daily video now. This is getting postponed to tomorrow. I did this transcribe the block, so you can see block number 2 is here. This was block number 1. I indexed them in Search Console. I installed Google Analytics. But today, most of the time I spent on the newsletter integration. So this is also done. I need to figure out the link tracking still. It's on my menu. It's probably going to be on the weekend where I have time to figure it out. So I had a look at Leon's recommendation, which is Brevo. Let's call it Brevo. So they do email marketing, push notifications, SMS, WhatsApp. It even says wallets, live chat, all kinds of things. Obviously, we just need email marketing. Now, the good part is that the email marketing, like Leon said, is really affordable, right? You can start you can start for free, basically. Then it's $9 a month, $18 a month, $500 a month. So I picked the $18 a month just to have a landing page and to have no logo included. Now, the tool is not that easy. It's not like an advanced editor or something. Maybe it is, and maybe I'm just not used to it. But I made a very simple one because it took me quite a while to get all the settings right, to integrate everything and then put it on WordPress. So it is pretty ugly, but it makes sense. So I installed Brevo for WordPress. And now at the end of every blog post, I have this newsletter opt-in, right? So I'm going to be sending the newsletter every Friday for Web3 founders and CMOs. Which is relevant content to them. If that's not you, then this is not relevant for you, right? Because it includes like industry insight summaries, all the relevant things, which are in line with the B2B channel. First name, last name, company optional email. It's a double opt-in to serve the quality. But it's basically integrated now in every blog, and it's dynamic. So if I change something in Brevo, it changes here as well. And before it wasn't. So if you put static HTML, it's just fixed and it doesn't auto update. Now I did the whole integration with the API, yada, yada, yada. It took me like 30 minutes to figure it out. But now it's basically good. It's working. I've tested it. All the pages slide through properly. So we have it based live on this blog post. And then on this blog post, it's also live. It's all the way at the bottom. I thought about doing a click pop, basically, right? What I said before. So you're reading and after 30 seconds, it shows a pop like opt into the newsletter. But I found that a little bit intrusive, and it's not that important for this channel, which is the blog, to generate leads for the newsletter. I feel like that will come from LinkedIn and YouTube automatically in the flow, right? So thus far, what basically has been the conclusion, today is more like an update video, not as much as what we've done. We've done the newsletter, right? So the opt-ins are basically coming in. The opt-in right now is 1 minus 1 because it's me, so 0. But this is basically, so from 1st of April, I will be distributing the link. This is aligned with this. So I'm going to put this in yellow. I'm going to put the newsletter in yellow, because as soon as the first video goes out here, this is the channel that will have to feed the newsletter, not this channel, not, well, X maybe, LinkedIn maybe, but this is the main channel from here to the newsletter, because that's the most relevant audience, right? So that flow, I think, is really important, and we're going to see where that ends up. Now, of course, for $18 a month, this is an absolute no-brainer, because if you see how many emails you can send with Brivo, I was actually really surprised. I think it's like, here, up to 1 million emails, right? All kinds of automation included. I don't need no sub-accounts because it's just me, right? Drag and drop builder with templates, A/B testing, mobile optimized, dynamic content, content feeds. Email frequency management doesn't matter. So open and click rates obviously important. Click heat maps, I don't really care. I always like this one. Geography, just to see the demographics of the audience. Like dedicated IP makes sense for enterprise if you're just spamming like crazy. If you're really sending like 10 million emails a month. Then you can do SMS, all these different things I'm not going to do, so it's irrelevant. Then for the commerce side, they have a lot of like e-commerce integration, abandoned cart. So I think this is more like a e-commerce style plugin because they do SMS and stuff. But I mean, this is the cheapest one. So when we looked at like Beehive before, because that's the most trendy, let's say, newsletter one. I mean, you can start for free, but you have like a lot of, I don't want to say restrictions, but the automation is not exactly like I wanted to do ActiveCampaign, right? So ActiveCampaign is like my favorite, but it needs to be at a certain level to be able to. And ActiveCampaign has made a lot of changes. So just email, it was just annual, right? It's already like $80. Let's say $50, right? For like segmentation, email marketing, automations, right? Because the automations will come into play. It's only annual. I found no way to switch it to monthly. Maybe they do that on purpose, or maybe they just only do annual at this moment. But let's say it's 50, 60 if it would be monthly. And this is 18. There's quite a bit of difference. Not that we can't afford it, right? 18 or 100 a month. It's just we don't have to. And this one is 61 if it's 69 if it's billed monthly, right? Which is, I would say, a similar level perhaps. Here the Beehive branding is removed. So yeah, great recommendation. We're going to experiment with it. I think it's fine to get started. And the great thing is when you're building your email list, you can always change. You just export the list, take it somewhere else, right? So what we kind of realize at this moment, if you don't mind me taking out the Sketchpad again, right? Let me start that from scratch. Like LinkedIn is probably the easiest source to grow, right? So this is basically plus. It's really good. The problem is I have doubts about the conversion window. So if I have doubts after 4 days, that's not good. Things I'm thinking about is to do DMs basically, because now I have premium. And for that, the B2B channel needs to be up. So we have YouTube, right? And YouTube, let's say this is daily updates, right? It's going really well. Two pluses. I'm happy about the traction and the effort and the results that I'm getting for these daily uploads. Now, the YouTube B2B, we haven't started yet. And that's really the only thing business-wise that I care about, right? This is just for fun. So this one, I think that because the growth is good on LinkedIn, the connections and all that, where does this come in? It's kind of like this, right? So the B2B side, the money, which is these people, and then they can potentially come together here. If I DM them and I say, just on automation, yo, what's up, buddy? I got nothing to sell, which is very important because most people in my LinkedIn DMs all want to shield something and they use an automation. I was like, yo, maybe this is helpful for you. Like I have this channel for Web3 marketers and founders where I explain how things work in this industry. Would you like to check it out? I got nothing to sell yet. And they will say, sure. So let's say even if you get 20% reply rate, right? And we're doing, let's say 50 connection requests. No, maybe it's how many is it a week? 200, 30, let's say 20 a day. Yeah. A little bit more at the moment, but let's say 20 a day. So that's 4 people that basically, so here we go, plus 4 that will check out your video, right? So on a weekly basis, that's like 28 people that would see it. And in the beginning, that would really help to stimulate the content. Then they might say, it's great, blah, blah, blah. And they might keep watching, they might not. I don't know. But I feel like this is kind of like a good circle to automate. If that works, then why not with X, right? Like make a circle like that as well. Like who has the money with that audience, DM them. So we kind of have to look for LinkedIn and Twitter automations. So I'm a very, very big believer, which I think I've stressed already in the previous videos, of doing the manual labor just to get the feedback, right? But as soon as you have the feedback, there's nothing wrong with automation as long as it's authentic. And therefore, like I'm saying, like open the DM with saying like, yo, I got nothing to sell, because everybody gets a DM on LinkedIn. It's like, oh, this motherfucker wants to sell me something, right? Which is like tiring. Like there's never any true value. But if I would say like, yo, I have something of value, maybe that you could use for your job. Would you mind checking it out? Like I'm on LinkedIn for value, right? To read stuff, to check stuff. So why not? And then you receive the value, and then maybe it's great, maybe it's not great, and maybe I think there will be a lot of like spillover opportunities. Saying like, oh, would you mind to come to my podcast? Oh, can I write like, do we want to do an interview for our blog? I work for this company, blah 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 blah. So I think this would be a very much plus one on the content side and then one on the business side. So for the dollars, but also for, let's say, the check mark, content, authority, position. So 2 wins basically from the DM flow. Or I'm going to be labeled as a spammer, and it's not a good idea. So probably we should send 100 DMs. I think that's a good way to validate if it works or no, and that would give the validation what's actually going to work and what's not going to work, where if the interest is not there. If this validates on 100, which would be 5 days, right? 5 days. If that says yes, then we're going to push that on X as well. Now, of course, we still need to get X started, and I think it's a very different audience, but I think the DMs is good. The question is, how many DMs can you send on X per day? Maybe 10 without running into too many issues. So 10 a day, that would result in 70 a week. I mean, I still think that's very good, right? Ideally with some automation. Is that possible? I'm going to put a question mark. We'll have to research that to see how that goes. So this is kind of the plan moving forward, to not only rank videos, and I mean, truly, like I've done it so many times, and specifically for the B2B content, it will be very easy to rank because there's literally no competition. But I'm wondering how many people are actually searching for these keywords. Very little. Relevant people, so even if it's less than a dozen a month, it's a dozen decision makers, right? So I think it's still very strong. Now the question is, how can we pull them towards the content? And this is again then where the next level comes in, that we spoke about. We had it in the plan. Like this is of course our own podcast, but making podcast appearances, getting third-party trust and endorsement, I think is very important to establish the authority position, right? I think the authority position is already crazy strong, having overseen like 250 token NFT launches, but it could be stronger by referrals, recommendations. Now, one idea that I had is having worked with all these founders, right? So the founder journey is great, and I have some great founders in my network. For example, I'll pull up a company called BitsCrunch. So I worked with the founder here. They've pivoted quite a bit. It was just NFTs in the beginning, but like their investors are Animoca Brands, Coinbase Ventures, Morningstar, Shima Capital, Crypto.com, Gate. Like this is a 2022 project, right? So of course it's been a long time. They're still running, but they have pivoted into like more AI stuff, on-chain data. And I had a good conversation with the founder a couple of weeks ago. I can ask him, he's a big content creator as well, so I can ask him like, yo, you want to come and have a conversation for my YouTube channel about the struggles and opportunities that crypto brings for founders, and how do you pivot all these problems along the way? How is it still alive? How did you get that investment? How did you do this? How do you do that? And I think it's extremely insightful. So I think there's a tremendous amount of value there. So the content I'm going to position is, of course, I'm going to show the media buying results for Web3 projects, how to build community, how to do this, how to do that, all the how-tos that I know, and proving it with all the results, right? Because that's my way. That's how I've always done my YouTube channels. Then additionally, I think I would like to grow the audience faster, right? By getting these founders on board to talk about their struggles. Why? Because this is a very unique opportunity. Most people do not have access to these founders, the relationship, or they don't want to talk to them. But I know at least a dozen of companies that I've worked with that have absolutely failed. Right? It happens, specifically in crypto. If you know the default standard is that 95% of startup fail in their first year, and of the 5% that lives in the next 5 years, another 90% of that 5% fails. It's not different in crypto. It's probably even more aggressive in crypto. So I can just invite 12 founders. I don't know if they would want to, right? That's the question mark. But I could basically say, what went wrong? And if they explain what went wrong, I think that's so extremely valuable. I think there will be so many insights and it's such valuable content. But also at the same time, there are founders that I know that have a $1 billion market cap token that I help them with. And we could basically say, okay, what went right in this case? What did you guys do different that others didn't? And how do you communicate with the audience? How do you do this? How do you do that? Is the token still relevant for the business, or how does that work? And that's probably such valuable content. The problem is, I don't know if they want to share, right? They're like, hey, I don't want to talk about my failed project, low key. But the guys that I've worked with are all genuine guys. So I don't think they will have a problem. They're beyond that now. It failed, it didn't work, and they are doing new ventures. So I don't think they mind sharing the lessons if they're talking to a respectable counterparty, asking honest questions as well. I'm interested in the pain, I'm interested in the lessons. I don't have to kick them oh, you retard, you rocked everybody, because I don't deal with that type of founder anyway. So they have failed for a business reason. They have failed for a third party reason beyond their control, market conditions, depleted treasury, they didn't raise enough, no product market fit, any of these issues, which I think would be resembled really nicely. So this is something that I'm considering, and then it would go on YouTube, right? YouTube, what am I even writing? Tube. And then it would also go on a separate podcast series just to repurpose the content, which I think is good. But this is still something I'm considering. It's quite a bit of work, right? I don't mind the work, but to set it up, and once you get it going, I would want to do at least a 10 to 20 piece series. These interviews are usually an hour and 90 minutes, so it would be the perfect content sample size. But I have to think about it. I think it's very important to highlight the good and the bad, and to see where things end up, and a ton of lessons to be gained. Most of these founders are very humble, and I would have a pleasure doing these interviews to see what lessons could be taken. So, and then of course that again ties to, relatable stories. Relatable stories tie back to growing this, validating the position, which translates back to money, right? It's that simple. Everything is with intent. Everything is with business intent. Doesn't mean the value is not there. I feel like, as I said in the first video, business is a value exchange. I give you value and you in return give me money, depending on what it is, right? And in this case, is all the warm-up exercise. We haven't mentioned the product, we haven't mentioned what's going to be. It's just warm-up. The warm-up is consistent value from all angles. Value. That when the moment comes and I ask for hey, you might want to consider this based on all the content you've been watching, they're going to be Colin, here's the credit card. That's a no-brainer. That's where I want the audience to be. And that's what I think is possible. So we're going to keep consistent with the content, the blog tomorrow, another one, the LinkedIn game, soon the Twitter game, and then as of tomorrow, hopefully the B2B content role. This is the major pillar of focus. And that's everything for today. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments down below. I will have a look and get them answered for you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.